and welcome to On Show. Now, usually in this series we just focus on the arts in Wales, but in this evening's programme we've gone all international. So, on show tonight, see Venice and live Welsh art at the Venice Biennale. Stump, the new book about birds, booze and betrayal from Niall. Alice is on location and is reporting on a subject very close to his heart.
This week I'm here in Cardiff for the 11th BBC Singer of the World. I'll be taking a look back at the competition. I'll also be talking to one of its leading lights.
With us in the studio tonight are two reviewers who are going to be giving their views on the week's new releases. Francesca Rubbitt is editor of New Welsh Review. She knows all about the twists and turns of the arts in Wales, and so too does the broadcaster and writer John Gower. And, lucky man, he's just come back from the International Art Exhibition in Venice. More about that a little bit later on. First, though, let's have a look at this week's news. The Venice Biennale is a key date in the arts calendar. Every 2 years, the city is transformed into one giant exhibition as artists and art lovers from all over the world gather to catch up with the latest trends. And this year is the 50th anniversary of the Biennale, so it's bigger and better than ever. It's hard to think of a more glamorous location to look at art. More than 100 countries are represented at the Biennale, and this year, Wales takes part for the first time. The Welsh show takes place on the island of Giudecca in an old brewery. Tempting fate, perhaps.
It is hard work. You put your reputation on the line as a curator, as an administrator. Anybody working on a show like this is putting their reputation on the line, particularly the artist.
There's not a person involved with visual arts internationally who doesn't come through and see this stuff. So you have to get it right.
It's far more judgmental and far more dog-eat-dog in some ways than you might imagine.
And the artists are here under the most intense professional scrutiny. You can't be here and not be top-notch. And what I feel is happening around us is the reputation of the arts and the visual arts in Wales in particular is transforming as we speak.
There are 4 artists in the Welsh show. None are traditional painters or sculptors. They use a mixture of photography, film and video.
The combination of the 4 artists is crucial.
It was a very, very hard decision to choose these 4. We had an enormous shortlist, and an even more enormous long list. The fact that there are 4 rather than 1 or 2 was an indication in a way of the fact that it was so difficult to narrow the choice down.
Paul Wright is a photographer. He's best known for a recent exhibition of photographs taken in post-war Afghanistan. But for the Biennale, he went closer to home and into the South Wales Valley.
I've always been interested in where the city meets the countryside, and some of the other work in this show is about that kind of border between country and city. And a lot of the work you see made in the valleys is quite condescending in terms of industrial bleakness and things being closed down. And that was too easy. I didn't want to do that. So I think I also wanted to bring a kind of a slightly surreal beauty back into the valleys instead of becoming romantic.
Bethan Hughes is based in Paris and showed a short film, Iron On, in the Biennale. Simon Pope took his inspiration from the city of Venice itself.
When I moved into this big green space here, there was one item here. It was a very old kind of fox, worn-out map of Venice. It's a typical sort of architect's or surveyor's map. It told you where everything was, precisely what the water level might be or the height of buildings or above sea level. But I figured the one thing that planners never managed to get to is the kind of things that really mean things to people. It's like, what do you feel for someone? Is there a moment of intimacy maybe that these are the things that mean a lot. And the idea is, hopefully, just with a pink, really soft, beautiful pink chalk, that they'll cover that map. And that we'll start seeing the city in terms of people's intimacy, people's love for each other, not just land values and heights.
The biggest impact of all was made by Terence Wynne Evans. He shone a World War II searchlight into the Venice sky tapping out in Morse code the words of a 17th century Welsh poem. Back home in Wales, questions were being raised about the selection of the 4 artists, but in Venice, the selectors were optimistic about the future.
We've been getting a very, very positive response from people from literally all over the world.
It's just wonderful to actually finally see Wales having its own exhibition and its own pavilion here. It's really important now that artists in Wales think, yeah, the Biennale possibility. And they don't have to go to London to get into the Biennale. They can stay in Wales and get into the Biennale. This is Wales' first participation. We hope and we believe and we will aspire to Wales participating in 2 years' time, 4 years' time, 6 years, and on down the line.
Well, joining us in the studio now is the artist Neale Howells, one of Wales' leading young painters. He's been a fierce critic of the Welsh selection at the Biennale. Welcome to you, Neale. Thanks so much for being with us. Now, why didn't you like the 4 artists that were chosen for the Biennale?
It's not so much like that, I suppose that sounds a bit too personal. What we started to think of is that this is an image to project out there in Venice. We've got an Irishman, Englishman, and the 2 Welsh artists don't actually live in Wales anymore. So whatever image they wanted to show in Venice Biennale, I can't see how it's going to sort of what's it like to live in Wales. Do you know what I mean? At this point,
yeah.
So they're going to get this kind of make-believe image, I believe.
So, John, I mean, you went to the Venice Biennale. Do you think that Wales was represented well there? There are 2 artists there who are Welsh but don't live in Wales, and 2 artists who aren't Welsh who do live in Wales.
The 2 artists from Wales who live elsewhere have actually carved out international reputations for themselves. And I thought it was an absolute delight to walk, trying to find Catherine Evans' installation. We tried to find this World War II searchlight, and we followed it around the city. And as we're going there, these Italians were coming up to us, step by step, saying, "What is that?" And they were saying, "It's beautiful." And when I explained to them what it was, I ended up doing a poetry reading, reciting Ellis Wynne to people who were genuinely interested. And this culture, if art is a sophisticated way of, like making the mark on the wall saying, "Kilroy was here," you couldn't not know that Wales was in the city then.
Well, Neale, is it just because there aren't any painters there? Or were you upset by the fact that it was sort of sculpture, installation art, and there were no sort of more traditional painters?
Yeah, and I wasn't there.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there. I should have been asked to do that, but they would have known that this guy, he actually lives and works in Wales. You have 10 years of what it's like to... In the last 10 years of living in Wales, it's changed so much and it's very political, assembly, everything.
Right. They reflect Wales. I mean, I think it's very difficult.
Well, he's a good artist, but I mean, he does a lot of good Irish stuff. I mean, the political stuff in Ireland, which he's covered in his photographs, are great.
But discussing these issues in terms of racial purity, I think it's a very tricky ground to stand on. There are people who've adopted Wales as their country, there are people who've moved out of Wales but still feel that their hearts are very much here, and that's what their art is about. I don't think you could box up art and say only people who live and work in Wales should be counted as Welsh artists.
Well, okay, you don't have to say that, but I mean, what's the point of putting on a Welsh show in Venice and say that, publicise that it's going to be a good cultural movement for the people in Wales? Well, other people in Wales actually getting their voice heard. I don't see how an Englishman and an Irishman, if they were any good, they could go for Ireland. But I mean, if she's living in Paris, goodness, what is she?
John, I'd like to hear from John. Did they need to be sort of, as you say, racially pure? Do they need to be pure Welsh in order to show their work?
If you have people like Brett Cunningham or whatever coming in, they have to observe a residency law, maybe every 3 years, but ultimately, it actually benefits, and I think it was actually it's an international show. We had an international sort of mix of people, and I was actually quite proud of that. And the nice thing is that they were laying down, if you like, a path to the future where people like Neale might do the benefit.
So Neale, maybe not this time, but next time.
And the curator is Scottish as well, forgot to add that. So that's your big ball of wax you've covered in Wales. Like, look, I mean, it is saying something. It's saying that there isn't enough Welsh homegrown talent. They're
saying better by actually going to Venice and actually comparing themselves with the best of the world and having conversations with other artists. And it was very pleasing for me to listen to someone like Seawright actually saying he was chuffed to be there. He knew how important it was to his career. And he was doing it for himself.
Well, look, what's going to happen next time? Are we going to have 4 different... we're going to have a Spanish one, Italian one, and a Mexican.
I'd like to ask you, Neale, if you were to choose a Welsh artist, other than yourself, obviously, who would it be?
it wouldn't be anybody else. I'd be the only person going. Just like we got in England, one representation.
And it should be you.
I believe so.
You believe so. Thank you very much for being with us, Neale Howells. Also, thank you to John and Francesca as well. See you all again soon, I do hope. Well, that's it for tonight, I'm afraid. Quickly, though, before we go, a reminder of our competition. The prize, a BBC Singer of the World DVD. And to win, just answer this question. Where was the birthplace of the painter Kerry Richards? Was it A, Gossinham, B, Dunvant, or C, Snetley? You can send your answers by email to onshow@bbc.co.uk, by text to 0778 620 1953, or you can ring us up on the phone number 0870 909 0555. I'm going to be back with more arts news next week, including Charlotte Church's new film and an interview with Catherine Williams. But until then, from Alice and me, very good night to you.
You can find out how tonight's 5 competitors fared in the first round of the BBC Singer of the World in Cardiff if you switch over to BBC 2 Wales right now.